Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to my channel called Fitter Philosophy. And this channel is all about stoicism, it's about practicality, it's about common sense, and most of all it's about an old duffer like myself sharing what I observe and sharing it with you so that you can get the benefit of it, hopefully in some way. And something that I'm noticing at the moment is a significant rise in the rate of inflation. And because we all live in a global village here in the year 2021, where what happens in one country sooner rather than later affects another country, we're really dealing with a global situation. It's just the way it is. And recently I went into a restaurant, a fish and chip shop where I live, and I was treating my brother to a fish dinner, so fish with batter, with chipped potatoes and mushy peas, and very tasty, recommended, particularly if you're in the Britain. It's quite a traditional dish. And the bill came to over £18, and I was shocked because I have the personal experience to know that when I last went into the restaurant a few years ago to buy the fish and chips, the bill for the two of us came to £14, not £18, so a significant hike. And I've also noticed, particularly in the supermarket, look at the prices on the shelves of the staples, the bread, tins of beans, bottles of beer, the usual stuff that people buy. And although the food industry is very good at keeping food prices down to keep the profits up, because people just buy more, you can definitely see that inflation is imposing itself on the prices, which in a way which are way ahead of what we're being advised of by government. So this idea that what's called the underlying rate of inflation is roughly about 4%. I doubt that very much. It's probably nearer 7% per annum, and I anticipate that it's going to rise at one point to 11 to 12%. The consequence of this is that our wealth is devalued by over 10%, right across the board, with everything. And we need to be mindful of this, and I totally understand that for young people who've never been here before, it's harder to get your point of reference. I remember the 1980s, I remember the 1970s, I've seen this before. I remember when it last happened big time, and it hasn't happened for a while. And therefore it's one of my responsibilities is to share what I know with you so that you can prepare better, whatever your circumstances, wherever you are. And it's about trimming the sail, an old nautical term. Basically, we all have to think more economically and less extravagantly. I can see from my perspective on the street that as inflation rises, it does so because it's part of the cycle, and that there will be other factors influencing this as well, not just the cost of living, but the availability of resources, the general level of wealth that we enjoy will be eroded, that we will have to budget more carefully, that we have to focus on clearing our debts faster as best we can, because one of the best savings plans you will ever have in your life is to be debt free, and it's something that everybody should aspire to. And there are unconventional ways of doing it. You don't need to live in a house, when you've got a big caravan, for example, and I know one person who lives in a caravan at the back of a garden and absolutely loves it. Very easy for heating the place. They don't acquire much in the way of possessions and material goods, and it's very cosy. Someone else I know, Sandy, who I've discussed in the past, sold a big flat in Glasgow and moved to a very small cottage in a remote place in the West Highlands of Scotland, and is self-sustaining and doing a number of part-time jobs which she loves. So there's ways to manage it. The most important thing is, the more we manage the situation in the world around us, whatever that may be, the less it has the ability to manage us. And this is my core point that I want to leave you with. Things are going to get tough fairly soon. The media is going to be blasting all that negativity, and I advise you not to buy into it. I recommend that you trim your sail, that you become more economically minded, that you more carefully budget, and that this is going to help you weather the storm of a recession, which is looming. Too many people are way overextended in fantasy investments. I see this with cryptocurrency and ETFs and all the rest of it. It is complete and total Ponzi's. Precious metals and things of value will increase, but it really is down to supply and demand, and inevitably with a recession, supply and demand literally shrinks, and it simply needs time to recover. When it does, by the way, we will be entering, and it will take 3 or 4 years, but it will recover, because everything does recover, and we'll enter into a golden age of prosperity like we've never seen before. And the reason for that is simple, gainers, because of technology and information and globalization on a scale unprecedented in humanoid history. The automation of production, the sharing of information, the redefining of wealth and prosperity in a much more planet sympathetic fashion, a greater awareness as to the quality of consumption rather than quantity of consumption. All these things will factor in, and the sun will shine. Whenever there's cloudy skies, the sunshine will be behind it. So importantly, don't be depressed about it, don't be frightened about it. Seize the day, be positive, trim your sail, learn from experience, and importantly, when some old duffer comes in the camera to share an opinion and perspective, learn from their experience as well. Take from it what you want to enrich your own points of reference. I'm Ralphie. Thank you for watching. I shall now leave you, because behind me, after a few days of rain clouds and miserableness and greyness, is the sun. The sun is rising over the Irish Sea, and it's a beautiful sight to behold. I shall leave you with that sun rising.